Welcome to Accounting High. You think business is very black and white, but it's not, especially when it's something that you founded, you created, your baby. So I don't think anybody realizes how emotional it is, especially as you go through due diligence. You're just staring at the pot of gold the whole time. And then once you sign and that ink is dry, get out. Stay 90 days, transition, stay out of the operations and exit. Don't stick around. It never goes well. Never. I don't think I've ever seen an exit where a founder stayed on that was not CEO of the new company.
Now they have to answer to somebody else.
Yeah, get out. Just leave, go do something else, take your money, go start something else and get out.
Yeah, that's a complete mindset shift, and some people can't handle that.
I was in therapy. I was on extra medication.
May I have your attention, please?
Welcome to Accounting High. It's freshman year at a brand new school. Here, we have no rules in place as we're on a mission to set our own traditions. So hang tight and learn with us as we grow. At Accounting High, you can expect to gain knowledge in a completely different way than what you may be used to, with some fun and oftentimes colorful conversations involving some of the best teachers in the accounting industry. Whether you loved high school or you hated it, here's your chance to be a part of an unforgettable experience redone. While you're here, don't forget to follow us on Spotify or subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you may be listening to us right now so you don't miss out on any new episodes. And feel free to leave us a 5-star review letting us know how the school year is treating you. In addition, share this episode on social media, tagging us at Accounting High. So sit back, relax, and open your mind because class is in session.
I repeat, may I have your attention, please?
This is another public service announcement brought to you in part
by Accounting High.
The views and events expressed here are
of the next generation of accounting and tech professionals leading this space.
The events and suggestions are not to be taken lightly. Children should not partake in the listening
of this podcast.
Anything else?
Yeah.
So without further ado, introducing the star of our show,
Scotty and Sharrin Fuller.
We're going to have a problem here.
Class is in session.
I don't want to cut you off here, but that's the first time I've ever seen that, and that was pretty funny.
You like that?
Yeah.
Cool.
All about it.
Dope.
You may proceed.
Nah, class is in session. This is it. Like, you're the teacher here today.
Oh, am I? We're all in trouble.
I'm just the custodian here at Accounting High. I just host the interviews. I'm like the MC, custodian. Like, I just mop up after everybody.
The custodian knows where all the bodies are buried, though.
This custodian has to bury most of the bodies.
Yeah, usually.
So Sharrin Fuller, of a lot of things, of glass. Why don't you share with our guest, our listener, not our guests, share with our listeners who you are, what do you do? Why should they care?
Yeah, that's what I usually say. I am not attractive in these headphones, first off, but that's okay. I put on my best Hurley shirt.
This is a podcast. So most people are listening.
They're not watching. All right,
yeah.
Good. Don't watch. I am Sharrin Fuller, Glass Wallet Ventures. Glass Wallet Ventures is a company I started, which specializes in coaching and advising companies from scalable to saleable. And what that is I help you grow your company efficiently and strategically, especially in this remote world, with a preparation for an exit strategy. And underneath Glass Wallet, I also have 2 accounting firms. One is in the fitness industry. It's called Fit CFO. And the other one is in the startup industry, and that's Blueprint Financial Services. And I'm also chapter president of the AFWA Nevada, Utah chapter. You know, nothing else going on around these parts.
Nothing else going on. So I really want to talk about that too, because, you know, for a lot of people, they might be really, really busy at their firm, at their job, and they look forward to the day that they're not busy, right? Mm-hmm. That was me. I was working crazy hours at the firm. I don't know if I definitely liked it, but I was, just looking at the finish line of, okay, wait till I get all this free time, all the things I'm going to do. I got all this free time and I just made myself busy again. It sounds like, and that's what I want to talk about today too, is the exit, the exit strategy, the exit plan, planning your exit, if that's even on the horizon for some people, but just looking at what that's like, because that's also something that you lead with. One of the hashtags on your LinkedIn profile is exit strategy expert, right? So you're also an entrance strategy expert too. If you also have all these new businesses, all of them are pretty young, right? Like,
Yeah, they all started in 2022. So very, very young. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Two of them, 2021. 2021.
wow. All right. Well, still, they're all post COVID. They're all like, they're not BC businesses.
No. I sold mine. I sold my BC during CV.
That's usually what a lot of people did. They had all these life shifts, mindset shifts. I know for one, I did. And a lot of people are thinking about that. So let's talk about that first, the business that you exited, right? Talk about that. What was it? Was it an accounting firm?
Simple Office Solution.
Okay.
Started in 2006, and it was, I want to say I helped pioneer the way of the remote accounting world. I lived in San Diego, was in my 20s, and I did not want to be stuck to a desk all day. It was beautiful outside. I wanted to take a laptop to a beach bar and work. So I had clients that I would go on Mondays, pick up their shoebox of bills and such, and I would remote in their computer, log me in style, and I'd do all their stuff from home, come back on Mondays, grab the new box. Anyhow, so that eventually started.
So you're doing kind of like weekly bookkeeping for them.
Yeah, bookkeeping, office management is how that really started. And then it grew.
And it was just you?
Just me.
In the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay.
Grew into more fractional controller work as I started working with
What does that mean?
accountants. More on the higher level, I was really great at process and procedure, and I didn't want to handle, funding and all the CFO-y stuff. I really liked the hands in the cookie jar and getting some elbow grease and getting in there and helping companies, identify what their problems are. Accounting was easy. It's your balance sheet's great, your chart of accounts great. Now let's put some process and procedure in place. That's kind of where the controller work came in. So I started working with VC-backed startups and loved it, absolutely loved it, and kind of grew the company from that. And then that's where all word of mouth referral. I got to a point and I thought, I'm going to back down. I'm working too much. And then all of a sudden I started getting all these referrals and all these amazing companies coming in. And I thought I could either say no or I can hire a team. And I thought, I'll hire a team. That's amazing. So I ended up with about 15 people by the time we were acquired, and had a grip ton of clients. And then some didn't come over. Some did their own things. Some came over and stayed on for a little bit. Some came over and left with me when I left. So
you grew this business from 2006 to just working at bars on the beach to a 15-person operation.
Yes.
So tell me about the first tech startup or venture-backed startup client. Was that what started the referrals? Was it one that you worked with that you were close to? How did you get into that space?
So there was one gal. She's in the VC industry in San Francisco, and she had a startup, and I was her fractional controller. And we just got close. You work very closely with those CEOs that are the founders, and they're very involved, but they know they can't do the work. And she trusted me, and then she said, "Hey, do my own stuff." And then they ended up having, unfortunately, to close that business, but then she started another one and said, "Hey, where are you at? I want you to come with me. I want, to work with me on this again." And then she just was referring me to all the people she knew in the VC world. And she was a huge referral source, absolutely. And it was all because, we had a great relationship and I was on top of all of her companies. So, yeah.
Okay. And so that kind of started. Did she have other friends in the space or? Okay.
Yeah, in fact, a lot of clients that we have right now, like I said, they tracked us all down. So when I left the company that acquired us, I was, took a break from accounting for about 6 months, I don't know, whatever I was legally required to. Anyhow, and then they just start tracking you down. Where'd you go? Where'd your team go? We're following you. And some of them, they made their way back, and it's kind of I guess I feel good about that, right? They followed me across 3 companies to wherever I went. So,
and what year was it? What year was it that you sold that business or
February of 21.
21. All right. So in that time period, you're growing this to 15 people, at what point did you like decide that you wanted to exit, or did you make that decision?
At like 3 people. It gets rougher. And I just, with SOS, I learned that you have to get your process and procedure in place before you scale, before you grow, especially in what we were doing. Otherwise, you end up with a lot of people doing the way you do things, but in their own way, and it just doesn't scale because you have to trade off.
Oof, I know that all too well.
So so when I sold, or when SOS was acquired and we moved it over, of course, the company that acquired was VC backed. So they've got all the money, which is great, right? So they could help us do what we really wanted to do. And essentially we just picked up our clients. It was an APA, an asset purchase agreement. So they picked us up and moved us under the shell of what the new name of this company was. And we were essentially the flagship of that. And so it was really a way to, hey, there's this new VC money, and now we can hire ahead. We can be proactive instead of reactive and kind of get all the things done that we wanted to do before. But I didn't want to get VC money. And I was just tired. I was tired. Come the end of the year, I'm exhausted. I normally take a break all of December. And when we hit December of 2020, I was just done. I was like, I don't even care who I sell my company to. I'm out. I'm just so tired. So it's really kind of funny to me that after the acquisition went through and then I exited the company, I ended up doing it all over again. I guess,
well, yeah, we'll get there. I got to get to this mindset of, because December of 2019, were you thinking of selling? You take a month off. Were you thinking of selling it that year?
I honestly had just made that list of what do I want if I ever sell, and told people, I don't think I'd ever sell. I'm going to grow this. And if I do, I want this, this, and this. And this is the only way I'll ever do it. And then you get to the end of 2020 and, I was just exhausted, and people, and it was just a lot of things. And I just didn't want to do it anymore. And here comes this opportunity that seemed to be very, very aligned at the time. And so I jumped right in and said, all right, let's do this. This seems like it's good for me. It's good for my team. It's good for my clients. And so I went for it for sure.
Well, was it good for your team and for your clients if a lot of them left?
I can't speak for anybody individually.
Sure.
I can't speak too much to that. You can only learn. All I could do with the situation, and all I'm really going to comment too much on the situation, is that I took that. I have helped so many people, especially working in the VC world. I've helped them with their IPOs. I've helped them exit. I've helped them with their acquisitions. I've helped them all the way through their due diligence up to the point where the line, or they were, you sign on the dotted line and the ink dries, and then I'm out of the picture. I'd never experienced what it was like for a founder after that ink dries. And I just got to go through that. And probably I didn't have the best case scenario. So what I decided to do with that is take that experience and help others to not have to go through what I went through.
Yeah, I want to go over that, but I still want to go over 19 to 20 because obviously it was COVID then that changed your mindset around this. Where were you living? What? Maybe not, but
I was in Utah. St. George, Utah. Nothing was shut down. Vegas was, which was a bummer. And I was kind of a homebody in Utah anyways, because what do you do in Utah? No kids, and I don't have kids, so it's not like I have friends. I was a workaholic, and I don't know. It kind of just all seemed aligned. I was to the point where the company needed to grow in some way, and I thought, okay, either I need to raise funds or I need to become acquired. Otherwise, I need to take a step back because we had so much in the horizon. It was like Oprah's favorite things is the syndrome that we kind of had is we were doing so good that we were going to go under because we couldn't keep up with it, and we couldn't bring people on fast enough. And when we brought them on, everybody was just so stressed that we weren't able to train them properly. So I really was trying to get ahead of it and be more proactive than reactive, and living in that reactive world. Because honestly, during COVID and any type of situations like that, our business always thrived, because when everybody shut down and nobody knew how to work remotely, what do? They call the company that has been remote for forever. Hey, you've always been remote. This is what you do. So help us be remote. Our employee is, doesn't know how to use technology. So we got busy. We got a ton of clients. we grew and just kept growing. So it was really more of a burnout, I guess.
Yeah. And was it self-inflicted? Because all that growth could stop. Yeah.
Absolutely self-inflicted, because I don't say no, my number one problem. And because I saw it piling up. I saw what was going on. My team was telling me, but I thought, we'll be okay. We'll just do this and it'll be okay. And like I said, I was making reactive decisions. The reactive decisions would have been were correct decisions, but they would have been better if they were done 2 months prior.
Right.
So it's just a. And then we had, I think, one client that owed us like $30,000 that he went under, and that was a big hit. That was the first time I've ever had a client honestly not pay me.
Oof. So, but this was also like, again, you're talking about your growth and growing it to 15 people. What was your revenues around that time too?
We were getting upwards of 2 million, a little over 2.
Because that's another inflection point a lot of people hit, or at least like the 1.2, 1.5 million inflection point where you really need to be out of the business at that point, or you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle to keep growing. And maybe that was the either you raise funds or like, I don't see too many firms at the stage where they feel like they need to raise funds. I feel like unless they're developing a software, maybe, but otherwise the owners usually just take a hit in their margins to hire people, and they can still survive, but it's going to take a little while. That's kind of what happened with me, is I took a hit of my margins when I hired up.
Yeah, because you have to hire some really very,
higher level, like management people.
A lot of experience, and you're talking a very, very high salary. And the problem is they come on, they train, so you've got 2 months before you really get an ROI. So you have to be able to cover the new team for 2 months before they're really kind of productive and giving anything back, right? And it's just hard when you have all these clients coming on, like, we need 3 new people, we need them now, and then we're gonna have downtime because we have to train them. And then what if they don't work out? So it's just, employees are just it's rough. And for some reason, the accounting industry is really weird when it comes to hiring. I think anybody that owns a firm will agree that
professional services in general are hard because knowledge workers, like,
why are we all so terrible?
Because we get in our own way.
Yeah, it's true.
And we're hard to manage because we know how to do what we do, and nobody can tell us anything. Like, it's always a problem.
One thing my friend Sean Duncan says is, I am unemployable. And I agree, I am completely unemployable, which is what I found out when the company acquired us and I stayed on as president and co-founder, but I had somebody above me at a board. I'm like, oh no, this ain't for me. I cannot be checked in on. This is terrible.
Yeah. Once you start working for yourself, you realize you probably shouldn't be working for anybody else.
Ever.
It's hard to answer to anybody. Can't nobody tell me nothing. You said you had a dilemma. Was it, raising funds or getting acquired? So one of my co-hosts, Nicole McKenzie, you probably know her. She talks about this a lot, where she's chosen not to have kids. Like, she owns her business, she owns her firm, and that's what she has time for. She says she wouldn't really have time for both. She likes the freedom that she has. So it's not raising funds, but raising a business or raising kids, I feel like, is a lot of women's like choice, obviously the choice. But once you do commit to having kids, a lot of times, like, it's hard to find somebody to stay home with the kids all the time and run the business. I do see a lot of women doing this successfully, but that's a choice. So did you run into that throughout your journeys? Or you don't have kids, but did you ever consider it? Like, in your okay, never considered.
I'm the oldest of 5. I was basically their moms. I was a nanny before anything. I was a nanny from 15 to 20. So no, by the time I was old enough to even think about it, I thought, if I have to change another diaper, I'm going to jump off of something. So no, I just was not for me, and that's okay. Thankfully, not for my husband either. We'd have problems, but we've got dogs.
There you go.
But I can throw them in a cage when they annoy me, right? I love kids, don't get me wrong. I love other people's kids. But it's just, my sister has 3 kids. She's, just turning 40, and she has a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And that, visiting them and playing with them, I'm like, yeah, I love them. go home.
But you get to go home. Yeah.
And please don't come down to Sharrin's house. Everything is glass and white, and I just can't have you touching everything.
Glass wallets, right? Like
Oh, yeah.
everything's glass, everything's white. Glass wallet.
Transparency is my thing.
Oof, that's it. That's something we could talk about too. So, that's that you're basically doing that with all of these businesses. It's like you have 3 kids right now.
I know.
It's almost like you had,
exhausting.
yeah. So this opportunity came to you almost to sell that business, right?
Yeah, it was Amy Selleck, who's on ADP. She used to be on the accountant advisory board. She used to kind of oversee it with all of us. And somebody came to her and said, hey, I'm looking for this type of a firm. And we've had a really hard time finding. She goes, you can go talk to Sharrin Fuller. And we fit all their buckets, and everything they said fit all my buckets. Because prior to this, I had 2 other, I went through almost due diligence, like pretty mid into due diligence with 2 other companies. And then I stopped.
Was this both in 2020?
Yeah, 2020. I wasn't even asking for it. Just they came to me and said, hey, we found you. We like what you're doing. We were referred to you, whatever. And then we weren't aligned. I wasn't aligned. I kind of just wanted to quietly pick up my team and my clients and move them over here and then keep going. I didn't want to have this huge adjustment. And these other 2 companies were just going to be a complete huge adjustment. But the one that came to me wasn't even built yet. It was a person that came to me and said, hey, I've got this VC money. This is what I want to do. Let's come up with a name. So I helped name the company, and then we'll move everything over, and then SOS becomes this new company, and then we'll do more acquisitions or we'll complete more acquisitions, and we'll grow the company together. And I thought, oh, well, that's perfect. That's what we'll do. And then I was going to step out of the accounting and really get into more of the education. And
So was it supposed to be sort of like a partnership?
Oh,
initially?
yeah. I was co-founder and president. So, yeah.
So the asset purchase agreement, you still cashed everything out. Did you have equity in the new company as like
I didn't stay long enough to execute my equity. I had to stay a year, and I couldn't make it.
Oh, you couldn't make it a year.
I didn't make it 6 months.
So that's interesting too. So is there anything that you wish you knew beforehand going into that? Like, is there anything you basically tell yourself, I wouldn't have done it this way, or?
Yeah, I would have listened to my damn advice. I would have looked at the list that I made of, well, how do I want to sell my company? And I would have probably done some more research on this person. I don't want to get into I want to be careful about it.
Sure.
But the company that he was representing or that he came to from is a well-known company. It has a very great reputation. And so I just kind of took that for what it was. I should have asked more questions. I am just the type to where I'm very loyal. And when I find something that I like and I find something I'm for it, I go head first. I usually don't even check to see if there's water in the pool. I just jump in. I'm all about it. And I was so in, and everything that I was being told was so perfect that you
had your rose-colored glasses on.
I did. And then I'm of course looking at my payday and what am I going to do with that? And we're going to do all this. And I'm so focused on that I'm not paying attention. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm worried about me and that I'm not going to screw these people over. I'm not going to do this. You don't have to worry about that. I'm not going anywhere. But nowhere am I protecting myself of they may not have the same intentions, right? You always have to protect yourself on a 2-way street. And I was more so like, oh, I don't care. Put whatever you want in there. Give me a 10-year non-compete. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to grow this company, not thinking that, hey, they can get rid of me. This is a one way. So it was just a lot of bad decisions on my part. And I think that's very fair to say. Nothing against them. They didn't do anything right. They presented me an agreement and I said, you got it.
They told you what you wanted to hear.
They did. And that's what they're supposed to do, right? That's what they do in those situations. Any M&A you're in, that person on the other side is selling you. They're telling you what you want to hear. But what really matters is what's on that paper, what is in ink. And, I played right into it. And like I said, realized what an emotional process that selling your business is. And again, that's where I want to come in and help these people now, because now I can be that. Knock it off. Like, where's your list? Pull this out. I want to be able to, smack some sense into people so they don't fall into that emotional trap like I did. Again, I would have changed a few things. I'm fine. I'm strong. I always make it through. But it's my clients and my team that, I want to protect. I don't ever... So I would have probably protected them a little bit more.
So you say emotional trap. Elaborate.
Like I said, you don't realize people think business is very black and white. It's, cut and dry, but it's not, especially when it's something that you founded, you created, your baby, right? In the sense. And now you're selling it to someone and you're going to have to watch them do whatever they want with it. And there's nothing you can really do. So I don't think anybody realizes how emotional, especially as you go through due diligence. You're just staring at the pot of gold the whole time. But as they're coming back and asking you questions, you get very defensive. Like, why are you asking me where I spent that money? It was my business, none of your business, And it's not an emotional thing. That part is very black and white. But they just want you, once they decide that you're okay and you've done nothing wrong, they just want your signature on the dotted line. And you really just have to protect yourself and not give in. And then once you sign and that ink is dry, I tell people, I don't care who it is, get out. Stay 90 days, transition, put in writing step by step of every single thing you need to do. Stay out of the operations and exit. Don't stick around. It never goes well. Never. I don't think I've ever seen an exit where a founder stayed on that was not CEO of the new company that it went well. Even if they're CEO of the new company, now they have a board. No, they don't want to do it.
Now they have to answer to somebody else.
Yeah, get out. Just leave, go do something else, take your money, go start something else and get out. Yeah,
that's a complete mindset shift, and some people can't handle that.
I was in therapy. I was on extra medication. Let me tell you, I had a complete meltdown. We sold February 16th, 2021. By May 5th, meltdown.
I mean, that's 15 years, or just about 15 years of growing something. And that's almost exactly the time period that I lasted before I decided I was out, or I started doing this podcast and things like that. Like I've basically exited without exiting anything. I just don't even want to make those decisions anymore.
Yeah.
So I guess going through that process, you obviously learned a lot. Would you still consider, was it worth it?
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes because I found out who my friends were. I found out who was loyal and who wasn't. So people that I wouldn't want to continue my journey on or lift in any way, right? I'll help if I have somebody
True
on my
colors.
team. Yeah, I have people on my team that it's like I said, they followed me and I will back them up and support them as much as I can. But you found out the people who you don't want to be there. I also learned more about myself than I thought I ever could. And now I'm really able to help more people. So the experience I gained from it, the trauma was another level, but the experience that I gained from it is, it's priceless and I'll have that forever. And it was humbling more than anything, definitely humbling. It put me in a better place in life, financially, of course, which allowed me to make some better decisions. And then also I was able to, once I exited and the other firms came up, I was able to go into them with a different approach. With everything we do is proactive. Nothing is reactive. If I see something, I'm like, in 90 days, we're gonna have a problem. Let's start solving for it now. So I already know. It's like going back to the future, right? And the DeLorean, you're like, this already played out. I know how this ends. So I'm able to kind of get a do-over and I get to do what I wish I would have done the first time. And we have full intention on selling Fit CFO. Our whole idea is we're branding it, we're putting it in the market, we're growing it, and we have a 5-year plan and we want to sell that sucker. Blueprint, no. That one's going to be boutique and stick around for a while.
Kelly
so I'm going to go through this again.
Yeah. What Kelly Clarkson says, what doesn't kill you make you stronger, right?
It is, well, for some people, but for me, yeah, I love it.
For sure. And you took all those lessons learned and formed some calluses and grew around that. How long was it before you decided I'm not retired? Or did you know, when all this was going on, you just wanted out?
Oh, I thought I was going to retire. I'm like, I'm just going to take this and I'm going to sit around and maybe I'll do this. Maybe I'll do a little bit of this. And then I was bored. I just recently found out I'm ADHD, and anybody else who's been around me, they say, duh, like they knew. I had no idea. But it explains a lot about me and the fact my brain doesn't stop. And I was so bored and I was just feeling just useless. So I thought I've got to do something. And the accounting firms are just cake for me. It's just, it's like breathing. It's just something I've done, so I can do it. No big deal, as long as it's done right. And so I thought, oh, I'll do it again. Oh, I'll do it twice. Oh, let's go.
But it got to be too much, though. And you said it wasn't because of COVID, but
I'm
running
talking
that
after.
one. I know
The first
after.
one, yeah.
Like hindsight's 2020. In 2020, you didn't see that. It wasn't 2020 in 2020. It was until after
Yeah.
that you saw it. And then when you did, that's like, okay, now I'm going through this again. And so what was the first one you did? What was you said it was cake. What did you do first?
What, for the new company?
Yeah.
Just operations, just setting it up was just. I knew
You just had a
exactly how it
vision?
needed
Like
to be
when did the idea come about?
So one of Fit CFO was already in play. It was a fractional CFO company, and the owner, he had contracted all the accounting work to us, to my accounting firm for forever. And then when I left, he goes, wait a second, can you come on and I'll give you 50% of this company if you make it a full accounting firm, like a full source, like everything. Anybody in the fitness industry comes to us and anything on their back end accounting is done. And I said, oh, okay. So basically took the company that was already existing and just created the new accounting packages and such, and the whole internal operations and how everything's going to run, and just documented it, and the roadmap. And then on Blueprint, it was really easy. Again, it was another partner, a CPA partner, that he only did taxes. And he said, hey, don't go anywhere. I want to start a firm with you. I was like, oh, well, okay, I guess I could kind of do that. And so he got it going, because I couldn't be a part of a firm for a while until I was out of my non-compete. And so he upped and he got that going. And I think a lot of the team, that when I left, they all left and went to him, and the clients all left and followed them. And then I came over and just kind of helped get that all up and pretty.
So you have ADHD. You seem like the visionary type. You know these phrases: visionary, integrator, EOS terms.
Yes.
Did these people need a visionary? The ones that needed your help?
Like my team? Or
no, the
partners?
one. Yeah, the partners. Yeah, are they integrators?
I mean, if I answer this and they're listening, I don't want to. I mean, they're
You're
both
not putting
great.
words in their mouth. I mean,
know.
you.
Do they need it? I mean, they're motivated. They each had their own thing, but they had a different. Like, they will both tell you that they cannot run and operate an accounting firm. Why? Because they don't know the details. They both worked alone, doing what they specialized in, just them. And my one partner, it was always just him on the CFO side, Fit CFO, and the team actually gives him anxiety because he can't control it, and he's very particular. I'm like, okay, it's okay. So it took a little bit, especially because it was his for so long, and then I came in and took half and said, and I was gentle in the beginning, and then I brought out my bulldozer and said, this is what we're going to do. And eventually he just, I think, must have had faith that, okay, Sharrin's got it. I'm just going to back away and let her do what she does. Mm-hmm. The other partner is just like, whatever you want, I don't even care. You just do whatever you want. So it's been very easy to work with both of them, because they just kind of let me do what I need to do, and they're trusting. But, we're a year and a half in on both companies, and they're both doing great. I mean, both teams have 10 people on them, and we just offered full benefits for all the employees this year. Like I said, they each only started in October of 21, so
yeah.
over a year.
Little over a year. Honeymoon's over on both.
Yeah, that's for sure.
What happens if one of them doesn't let you do what you want?
I would sell my shares and leave, because I'm just beyond that, right? Like, if it's not good, if I can't see the future and see that it's proactive and see that we can get ahead of things, I don't want to be a part of it, because it's going to be stressful, and I don't want to end up in the situation I was in again. I'll just sell it and go on to something else that fits what I want to do, which is, again, okay, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I run them both kind of identical, so it's very easy. They both have, I do everything the absolute same. So it's that way I just have that that level of efficiency and repetitiveness, and I'm not having to go to do something this way and this way. So I've got the same tech stack, the same process and procedures. So I'm not reinventing the wheel on both sides. I do it once, I make sure it scales, I reinvent it with the logo on the other side.
Do you feel like you're sitting between two bar stools?
I mean, is there a more comfortable bar stool in between?
It could be. I don't know.
I love it. I really, they're both a little bit different. One is, they're both a little bit different and I enjoy them, but I don't want to be in them as much as I am right now. I was out. I had an operations manager and then I took, like I said, December and stuff off and I came back and I said, okay. I moved my people operations person to be client facing, created a whole HR department for our clients. And I took back over operations because I thought, I'm just going to automate this whole thing. Why do I even have a person running it? I could automate the whole thing. So I kind of redid the internal structure and automated mostly everything to where now I think I'm through March, and then I'm going to be then I'll only be in probably 10% again. And then I could start really, because Glass Wallet, I'm launching courses in a community and then conference season starts and I'm speaking at a lot of conferences. So I can't be in the operations of these two accounting firms. I need my department leads to handle what they handle. And I will nod my head or shake my head and tell them, yes or no on your opinion. But just really paying them and letting them handle their departments and let them lead.
Yeah. So you've got a lot of control. There's a lot of C words coming in here, like with the conference, courses.
I get called a lot of C words. So.
Hey, we're not going there. We're not going there. I mean, the control factor though, like as you step away, somebody else is going to have to run these for you. Would it be easier to have one person running them both? Like you've templatized all of this. Mm-hmm. Like if you're going to need to find somebody to run operationally one, would you have the same person do both?
Yes, and I did. But what I did instead is I created departments. So we have, we have a customer success, a, business development, accounting, tax, and people ops. Each of those have a team lead, and then they are the ones that are in charge of their department. So what I did is I created our company roadmap. Here's our vision. This is where we're going. Here's what I want to do. This is how we want to see it. Now, you as a team lead, in your way, because you're the team lead, make it happen. And so kind of more enabling them or mentoring them, or I don't know what the right word is there, really kind of giving them the tools that they need to be able to lead their department and feel like it's theirs. So once I did that and they actually believed that that's what I was doing, because as you could tell, I'm very, finger on the pulse, everything starts, it was rolling a little bit more smoothly. That vision. Yeah, they see the vision. So now it's honestly less on me. And now when people come to me, I'll say, that's not my decision to make. That's maybe Beth's. Beth's in charge of accounting. You need to ask Beth. And if Beth has a question, she can come to me. And so now it's more of like a redirect and getting people in the habit of where to go to. But so far it's working really well. And and now all I really have to do is just have my calls with the department leads once a month. And, we're all on Slack. But aside from internal, like I said, I'm, dealing with some platform software shifts and making sure my handbook's updated. Once that's done.
That's for your people ops person to do.
Nah, she's client facing. I want to do it internally.
So you've got a client success and a people ops. Explain the difference between those.
Client success is our customer success person, our customer service person. They're kind of the middle person between the client and the team, so they can make sure everything gets handled, onboarding, all that. The people ops she is essentially HR, client facing. So a lot of our clients need that HR help. They have employees, remote. They want to put procedure in place. So she's handling all that client facing.
Okay. So that's sort of like Gusto's whole people advisory. I know you're an ADP person, but Gusto's people advisory, it's a service that you're offering. So you've got tax services, accounting, and people or HR type services, and you have different people in each one of those. Yeah,
everybody is their own department, and they've got people underneath them if they need it. And
how many employees in these operations?
10 on each.
10 employees each. So you got 20. Basically a 20-person team.
Okay, so let's reiterate. 3 of those people I split across our tax person, she split. The people ops right now, she's split, and the customer success is split.
So it looks like this is on the surface. I mean, obviously it is 2 companies, but you're sharing some resources between the 2.
Because Glass Wallet's the owner.
Glass Wallet is the...
So Glass Wallet owns the percentage of each of the company. So it makes it
owns 50% of each one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that does seem... because again, on the surface, it just sounds like you got 3 things going on, but really,
I do.
Operationally running them, you're running them as if it's one...
Almost, like identical, but separate, because like I said, the whole idea is that Fit's going to go away. We're going to sell it. It's going to go. And then anybody that wants to go with Fit on that team can go. Anybody who wants to stay with me, there will always be a place for them, either on Blueprint or Glass Wallet, depending on what they want to do. But
is Blueprint a more of, I guess, an incubator to figure out what these, some people have firms that aren't niched, that aren't like necessarily in one vertical. It sounds like Fit is definitely a vertical.
Absolutely.
How about Blueprint?
Blueprint is really startups. Startups, I know the VC backed, so we're starting to get VC backed in like crazy eventually. Or in the beginning, it was a lot of professional services, and then some of my VC backed that came over, and some of the other ones that followed us. But now we're going heavy into the VC backed startups again.
That must have shaped your mindset around, I need to raise funds or exit.
That's what you know. That's what you know. Hey, I
That's
need to
what
raise
you know,
a
yeah.
series.
Because you see all your clients doing that too. Oh, that's dope. So you stayed in that space, and doesn't sound like you're going anywhere anytime soon.
Nah, I like it. It's believe it or not, it's a pretty steady space, especially when you're talking about software. You get in with my favorite thing is you get in at the very beginning of these companies when they just got, a pre-seed funding. Maybe they got $1 million. And these two guys who are super smart engineers, co-founders, need to now develop the product and hire a team. Well, they can't develop the product and manage the team. They've been doing everything on their own. So we come in and we help them get their employees in place, get their benefits in place, make sure their financials are correct and accurate, and we're booking their deferred revenue properly, because their next thing is going to be a round of due diligence for, probably a Series A raise, and it's not as easy as their pre-seed or a seed raise. Those, they just give anybody money and they're like, go make me some more money. But when the A comes, it's a heavier due diligence. So we really kind of get in and start with them there pre-rev. And then once they have money, they don't want to let us go. And so we grow with them. We add to it. So some of our clients, they start out at like $500 a month clients. And some people wouldn't take those, but I see the potential. I'm like, no, I'll take them. Because they end up being $10,000, $15,000 a month clients, and they stay with you until they exit. And then when they exit, they start another company, and all the other big people go to other companies, and then we get referred to all of those. So every time there's an exit of, a lot of my VC backed, we end up getting 4 more clients in. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I think Nicole's going to love that, because she's been working with a lot of these larger clients. So how do you handle that? How many clients do you have at Blueprint? If you're
Blueprint, I think, has about 75 right now.
75, and that's a large amount if you're billing some of them 5 or 10.
Not all of them are that big. I mean,
Okay.
we've got probably 5 big ones. The rest are they're smaller and they're growing, and if we can get them in a position to where they kind of, it's like I said, repetitive and scalable, then that's fine. Some of them will let them stay, even if they're not going to get big. It's okay, but.
Do those larger clients eat up a lot of your resources?
Oh God, yes.
Are they worth it?
If you can manage them, and that's what I'm teaching. So my director of accounting right now, she has never dealt with them before. She's dealt with a lot of professional services, construction, so she knows. But she's ever dealt with a lot of these engineers, VC-backed startups, and she's like, these are high maintenance. They're micromanagers. I'm like, yes. They're all going to be the same. And that's what she noticed. All 5 of these people. I'm like, and guess what? Those are all the VC back. She's like, yes. I'm like, they're all the same. So what you need to identify is their personality traits, what they're, what's important to them, and you need to manage them. So she's learning to manage a whole different set of people. And honestly, when in managing them, it's just a matter of getting ahead of their needs. It's foreseeing what they're going to ask you for and being proactive, and just love bombing them with the information. And then when they see that you've given them so much, and they're not asking you and you're just giving to them, they're like, okay, I've got it. You've got it. Leave me alone. And then they leave you alone. They know you've got it, but they don't trust anybody until then, because it's their baby. They've done it. They've done everything on their own, and now they're handing it to you. Especially if you come to someone who, hey, my last accountant just stole $1 million from me. Well, or hey, my last accountant just died. We have one of each of those scenarios right now. And I told the team, I said, this guy is going to be hard because the last person that he trusted stole $1 million from him. So we are immediately criminals, whether or not we aren't. So we need to build that trust and just keep in mind that this is what happened, and be very, visible with him. And so far it's going well. The one where the guy died that's just a whole other story.
Sure. Well, everybody's got to die at some point.
I know.
How do you build trust among these teams? Because they're high impact teams. You got them across 2 companies too. How do you build trust among
Communication. I'm over communicative, but not just me speaking, but listening to them. And you can listen and make promises. It's that follow through. When somebody on the team comes to you and says, this isn't working, they need to feel like they're heard. And people will stay with you if they're like, hey, I love what I do. I'm heard and there's a resolution and I'm compensated fairly. And those are the things I kind of make sure, like my 3 things are communication. Oh my goodness. Consistency and follow through. Those are, I just
More
live and die
Cs.
by those. Well, except for the F. We were trying to come up with a C for it. We couldn't come up with a good C word for follow through. But I just try to those 3 things in everything I do and make sure the team feels like they're important and they're heard and there is a resolution. Also giving them the ability to make the decision.
Completion?
So I don't like that word in that situation. I tried that one. I was like, my mind went elsewhere. I'm not going to use it. So this is high school high. So, let's.
Yeah, I don't even go there. Now I might, now that I hear that word.
Yeah.
I mean,
So if you could come up with a better C word for follow through, but that was the first one we came up with. And I thought, I'm going to leave that one alone.
all right. So connection was the other one, though.
Communication, consistency, and follow through.
What about connection?
I mean, connection can be your communication. I mean, you
Could
just
be,
communicate. People want to hear, like, what is the worst thing you can do? It's not respond. Somebody, I don't want to deal with it. I'm not going to respond to it. Like, if you don't respond to the IRS when they're sending you all the letters, what do? They send you more letters. They give you a tax lien. But if you pick up the phone and go, hey, IRS, I'm sorry, I ain't got no money. Let's work something out. They go, okay, let's work something out. Thanks for calling. But when you don't respond, you don't communicate, people assume the worst. So the number one thing you got to do is communicate on all levels, employees, clients, everything. Communicate. Just even if you're not going to like what the communication is about, you have to communicate.
It's hard for some people. It's hard.
It is, but you have to. Like we're human. You have to until, everything is in chat CRT or whatever that is. We have to
GPT.
communicate. I don't even know. I need to play with that, but I'm a little scared.
You got to be a good communicator to use it, though. Like, you can't use these tools if you're not a good communicator.
Yeah.
You
No,
have to
it's true. Because you have to be able to say what you want. So I try to teach them that. I'm like, you can't just ignore them. If somebody emails you and it's a huge project and you can't get to it, email them and tell them that. Hey, got this. I can't even look at this for 2 days. Just so you know that I received this. And in 2 days, I will look at it. And then I'll be able to give you an idea of when I can actually get to this. I said, but don't just ignore it. Then they're mad. And that's when you lose your clients and they go elsewhere because no communication. I mean, how many
Acknowledging
people...
it, yeah.
How many people, when a client comes to you, you ask them, why are you here? Oh my God, we never heard from our account. We don't know what they were doing. We never got our stuff on time. We never heard from them. Yeah, consistency, communication, follow through.
Consistency. It's important. All of
I'm
it.
posting about it on social media right now. My 3 keys to success.
That's good. That's good.
I like it. I'm gonna trademark it. You can never say those words again
So,
without giving me $1.
well, I don't know about that. CCF, I still don't like it as an acronym.
I know.
You
I
need a
gotta
good
do
acronym. Get Sean in on that. He's killer with
Sean
the acronyms.
is a great acronym guy. I should, but he's very, very busy right now. And
All right.
he'll tell me
So, Glass Wallet. What was the inception of this? I mean, I know it's a holding company, kind of, for management company.
It started as that. That's exactly what it was. Is I thought,
Was it
what
called
I want-
Glass Wallet when it started?
Glasswall Ventures, because what I originally wanted to do with it is invest in other accounting firms, is go from accounting firm to accounting firm and say, okay, so you're going to pay me a small amount and some equity, and I'm going to help you. I'm going to come as a consultant and help you get this together. And then I ended up with Fit and Blueprint. And I thought, okay, now I've got my hands full because I'm actually in it. And then I thought, okay, I still want to kind of do that. So that is what Glass Wallet's doing on the top line is. I have a community launching on the 1st and courses.
1st of April?
Yeah, it's a paid community. But
So my C's my C's have been content, community, courses, and then coaching, and God, I have another one, but it's not coming to me right now. So it sounds like that's like the natural progression for people with free time these days. If they want to teach or they want to do something, they start with. Did you start with content?
no.
To build that community, I mean, how do you build an audience? How do you grow an audience? Usually people do that through content.
Social, content. And I'm terrible at marketing. I have a director of marketing because if it was up to me, it'd be awful. I'd probably post like a hockey picture once a month and
So what's the problem there? Because I'm
With
starting to realize I'm not very good at
I
this
don't like
social
it.
stuff. Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't know. It's different between my personal page, which I keep separate. I have a whole different name, and my public. For some reason,
A whole different name. Are you still Sharrin Fuller on your personal page? Really?
You couldn't find me. I've got
Wait a
fake
second
email.
here. Hold on. Back up. Why?
Because I want it separate. Because I want to be free to be me without having someone go, "Oh my god, she's on this." I can't believe that. 'Cause
Whoa.
I joke a
You've
lot.
got
I
3 businesses, right? And you
actually
seem
do. I also just started doing influencer stuff because I have a problem with buying that junk that Facebook tries to sell you. And so there's this Facebook group or this website I started called Sharrin Bought It, so you don't have to. And I am doing videos because I buy all that crap. That everyone's like, should I buy that? I'm like, I bought it. Let me show you how it works.
Oh,
Terrible.
it's consumer reviews. That's actually
Yeah,
very
stuff
useful.
like that.
Very useful.
Got
So,
about 100 followers so far.
but why the identity? Why
I don't know.
multiple?
I've always kept it separate because my personal life is very private and I don't share a lot. And so the people on my other Facebook, I know them. And in my other one, I only put a little bit out there. My other one, I put a little bit more.
I'm
So
going
I
to
keep them
critique.
separate.
I'm going to critique the idea for Glass Wallet because people need to be able to know and trust you, and usually,
Well, they do.
These,
I'll let people. I gotta know people. If I know you, I let you in on my other side. I just don't let you in behind that hard candy shell until I really know you. But otherwise, I'm pretty much me. I just
All right.
don't let you
All
in
right.
on my personal. Like, hey, Sharon's in, Vegas at the casino right now. I don't put that on my public. They don't need to know what I'm. I don't. I just. There's a line in the sand of what I share publicly and what I keep personal. And
Okay. I'm learning that, and I am being advised to draw a line in the sand because I have been I share everything.
Yeah.
There's nothing private about me. I don't think there is anything left that I could even not share. But a lot of people are telling me to pull back and start drawing some lines. And I don't know where to draw the lines. So where do you draw the lines?
That's where I have the problem, right? Because I'm the same way. I don't care. I'm me, unapologetically me, and I'm going to upset some
But you
people.
also have a separate identity that holds all of it back. So you're saying
I
two
do.
things here.
I do. And it's something bad. You're not going to go in there and be like, oh my
I'm
gosh,
not
she's a
saying I'm not
terrible
judging at all.
person.
I'm trying to determine
My
if
humor
I
is
need
a little
to do
bit more,
this.
like a 10-year-old boy. And I think things
So,
are funny
yeah.
that, the older generation doesn't think it's funny. And I've already had a few.
So is this because of the older generation? So we're about you're Gen X. I'm right on the edge, right? Mm-hmm. You're right on the edge too. Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
I was raised to where you had to keep your personal life and business separate.
Absolutely.
I was also raised that you have to be this different person, and there's all these expectations, and work is supposed to be lame and boring, and you're supposed to want to take a vacation away from work. So I have recently this whole thing I haven't really been all of it to me is fun. There is no separation now between work and personal and
Yeah.
everything else. So I treat all of it the same way. And I think that's I'm shifting. I don't even know what I'm going with that or what I'm saying. Besides the fact that it's not like my parents. They still always see this separation of work and play. And I think
Yeah.
that's the big shift I've had. And that's why I didn't want much to do with my firm anymore, because my mindset around the accounting firm has always been, this is work. I do this because this is the one that makes money. And then this is the one that's home that is the family guy, right? I don't see any separation between all that now. Maybe it's because of working at home.
Because I'm at work and now I can also go to the grocery store at the same time.
Yeah.
For me, it was the very first thing is I think when the online cancel culture started, and I thought I need to protect my team. Actually, I know exactly what started it.
I got, yeah. So
I know exactly what made me decide I'm drawing that line in the sand. I actually remember the conversation now, the whole
What was it?
meltdown. I was in a Facebook group, thankfully not with my public name. Even on that one, nobody knows who I am. My Facebook profile picture is not even of myself, or it's not even of a person. And it was a person who just was not in a good place mentally. And they took something I said and man, they ran with it. And I was like, where are you getting this? And every time I tried to say, I don't know what you're talking about, they took it as me doubling down anyhow. So then they went to TikTok and all over and said, we've got to find out who this person is. I want to call their employer, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh my God, over nothing. Like, and I was asking everybody, I'm like, did I do something wrong? They're like, no, but this person was really out to get me. And I thought, oh my God, thank God that nobody could find me. They couldn't find me in any way because I was so locked down. And I thought, I don't care about me. I'll be fine. But I've got a team. If something happens to my business, I'll start another business. I'll do something else. But my team
tells me
this.
to shut my mouth up. Like I
know I get in trouble too. Just barely. They're like, we only have, in fact, didn't I just say, where was I at? Oh, I was just on a client call and I said, yeah, we don't have an HR department. I said, we only have HR to keep me in line because I get in trouble. But
yeah,
no,
yeah.
I'm just too real. I'm just like,
I feel you. I feel you. Well, I'm trying to clean up my act because I got some people distancing themselves because I'm making too many jokes and I got to stop the drug talk. I got to stop this and this.
I bet you got some sponsors that were like, I'm not going to be a part
sponsors,
of that. That just happened to me
my
too.
My speaking coach told me, look, let's separate. So I got a new rap name, not Little Toddler anymore. I'm OKR. It's a little bit more professional. OKR.
Objective and key results.
Okay rapper.
Oh, okay. It's in line, right? I mean, our KPIs and our OKRs.
Little Toddler's not resting in peace. Little Toddler's going to be for a different audience. I think.
Okay.
Like all self-deprecating, like I'm a child, like all that stuff is fun, but sponsors don't really like that.
That's my problem, and that's where I'm at that right now too, right? Like I don't know, a couple of sponsors like, we really like Sharrin personally, but we can't put our brand behind her. I'm like, pfft.
Well, okay. That's why I cleaned up my act on the show. So you'll notice if you listen.
Sorry about this unsponsored.
This one isn't that bad. This one isn't that bad. I mean, now it's just getting a little bit off the rails, but it's fine. We're deep into, usually listening this long. Usually it's just about the conversation, but like at the stage right now, like I want to grow the audience. I want it to be a little bit more easier, like let's just say more accessible. I've been limiting the whole discussion being, so that's why we're talking about that separation. So having some other separate form of outlet. Exactly. Outlet.
I want to share this horrible meme, right? But this is not the audience. This is the audience. They love those. They love those memes.
And that's okay. That's okay though. That's like, and so I'm starting to realize there's whole, like, I'm learning as I go on a lot of this. Yeah. Well, dope. Appreciate you coming on, Sharrin.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for sharing all of those. If you got to summarize all of this, though, let's go back to the mindset of the business owner who exits, who's now into 3 new ventures. Glass Wallet got us off the rails, but Glass Wallet in and of itself is like that natural progression that everybody goes through now. Not everybody, but you're one of many. A lot of people are doing this now. Like there's a lot of conversations I have. Everybody wants to start a little community and start this and that. So why should somebody join yours instead of the others? Sell me.
Mine is specifically specified in scaling and sailing your business. So if you want to grow, and everything I do is real. You're not going to get the fluff. You're not going to get the, if you do this, you'll make 6 figures. No, I'm not giving you that. I'm giving you the real. I'm going to give you the how-to. I'm going to give you the harsh reality. I'm going to give you the good stuff. Because I have been. People need to know. People, like I said, if you want Tony Robbins motivation, go to Tony Robbins. For me, I'm going to give you real. I want to motivate, but on a real side and let you really know how it is. And also be real with you if what you're doing is terrible. Like, hey, you have like a 30% success rate with what you're doing, which is great.
You're 30%. Honest.
I'm extremely honest, but
I also this one-on-one coaching then?
I'm going to do a little bit of one-on-one while I build up a reputation, right? I want to make sure I'm out there, and then I'm going to scale back and stick to like mastermind and community. I don't want to do it one-on-one forever. I want to focus more on events and education and one-to-many, and then courses. But I want to be able to
one-to-many, you have to be comfortable filming stuff alone, I think too.
Oh yeah.
I can't do that yet.
I can.
You can.
I'm golden. What do you want me to do? Yeah, I'm fine with that. I can do it. I'm fine with it. So I love it. I'm my little. I want an amazing group of people that we can all work together and grow. And even if they don't want to sell, like, you still should have a 3 to 5 year plan and know what you're going to do, and be prepared that if someday I'm going to do that, or someday someone knocked on my door, am I okay? Am I going to lose a chunk of money because I wasn't prepared? And there's just few things that you can do to just get there. And so the community is the way to allow you to kind of progress as you're going. Maybe you like what you do, you just want, some give back. I'm going to do monthly Q&As. I want to make sure that every month that you're getting a value of something for what the subscription is, because it is a paid community. But
How
I want
much
to make
is
sure
it?
$200, $199
A month? Oh,
So I need to make sure that
that's
everybody.
a good price.
I want to make sure that everybody is getting something
value.
of value. Like, even if it's credits from an Anchor. Anchor's like, hey, I'm going to give you $200 of credits this month. So you're
those
getting something in
sponsors
return.
are like subsidizing certain things for the community,
It's, I guess,
because
a
that's what
way
Paget does.
Something like that, I guess. If they're going to come in and I'm going to promote their software that I love and I know how to use, and I'm
But they should
schooled
give
in,
your members preferred rates. A lot
and
of
they
platforms will
That's
do that.
what they will.
Yeah.
They're going to do that. I want exclusive rates, and it's just exclusive for our community content, webinars, how-tos. But not only that, like, not am I just going to say, hey, you're going to do this. I'm going to say, here is step by step. Here's how I would do it. Here's my task list. Here's the PDFs. Here's the templates. So you can honestly just start an accounting firm or a professional service business if you start with me. So the community is kind of as you go. There's going to be a mastermind, which gets you what the community is, but a little bit faster. And then the courses, of course, are going to be do at your own pace or as fast as you want. So it's all going to be the same.
This sounds a
resolution.
lot like Accounting High. What that's going to be.
Does it?
Very
Yay.
much so.
But different spectrums,
But
right?
different-
You guys are covering a lot.
Yeah, I'm not looking to tell people to sell either, but maybe on that journey to get there.
Exit
we're-
strategy.
So you know what? Ours, we would leave them off with you when they're done with us, because
There you go.
we're trying to take them from 300,000 to 1.2,
There you go.
1.5 million. Once they get there and they want to get out of the business and they want to sell, if that's where they go and that's what they want to do, we'll push them off to you.
Well, that's great, but there's we'll have to get together and see what your program is, because there's a few things they
My
have
program
to be
is 4 years in development because it's freshman year right now.
But there's certain things that while you're growing them, and you can likely your program will absolutely get them there, but there's certain things they have to do on the back end to get through that due diligence, and that's really what I want to make sure that people are doing, is making sure that their operations and everything is set up to get them through that due diligence so they can actually sign on the dotted line and get that amount of money.
Maybe
Otherwise,
I need you to help me do that with mine.
Yeah, sure.
I think I'm sitting on 2 bar stools.
Oh, that, yeah.
I think I'm ready to sell my firm because I just want to do this full time.
You should, and I've got those connections. That's another thing I want
But
to do
my
on the
firm
back end
doesn't
is
take me
connections.
down. It doesn't bring me down at all. Everybody's self-sufficient. It's going well. There's nothing wrong with it. Why do I need to sell it?
Then don't.
Exactly. That's the question that keeps going through my head. Like,
I know.
everybody thinks they need to run away from their problems and sell my firm so I can go do something else. Why can't I just keep it and do both? Like, the firm is fine. Everything's going well.
That's what I'm going to do.
I think I have to
mine.
convince myself this all the time, because it's always like, I think the mindset used to be, there's always something new around the corner. There's always something bigger
Yeah.
and better. And I never appreciated the way things were. Just being good.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? And I know we need to wrap up, but that's the thing, is that when you're good at it and it's like breathing and you can do it in your sleep, you feel like you've already conquered it. So it's like,
Yes.
I want the next, this isn't a challenge anymore. This is just okay. And I'm okay leaving it. I've left it in a good place and I'm going to walk away, but you're still a little protective of it, right? So you want it to stay amazing, but at the same time, it's not a challenge. Those aren't a challenge for me anymore. They are absolutely not. I've got an amazing team in place, and now they can kind of run, and I could stay in the picture to make sure, the ship doesn't go under, but I'm going to go to Glass Wallet and put 90% of my time there, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm doing now. Almost
We're on the same
95% of my time is Accounting High.
Yeah.
And I love it. But all I
Yeah.
want to do is my raps now. It's always moving on to different things. I feel like the podcast itself is a springboard for a lot of other
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
That's why I'm doing the raps. I just finished the Tax Accountant's Anthem, and it didn't go over like I had hoped on like the socials, because I'm not very good promoter. So that one didn't do well. Like I posted it on YouTube just to expect it like to do its own thing. I didn't really promote it at all, but
Got to get someone.
I
got
need a
someone
music
that's
video.
like
So
that.
I released the first music video though. I probably showed that to you already.
I watched them all the other day, by the way.
Yeah. So I think I got to do a music video for the tax accountants anthem. Like this was just a lyric video. I want to get a lot of different tax people to do the hook, and I want to make a music video of like a Zoom video or like a conference call of everybody doing the hook at the same time. So it's like the Rough Riders anthem, but it's stop, don't drop your source stocks in a shoebox. Oh no, taxable income is not cash flow. That's the hook. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
I love it. It's a nerdy rap. I love it.
That's all I can do. It's dad jokes. It's a bunch of
right,
good dad jokes.
Rapper OKR.
OKR, yeah. It's
Somebody else
okay.
can be KPI.
I was thinking about that. Yeah, who's the KPI?
Not me, man.
Maybe Nicole's KPI because she does
know.
raps.
My ginger friend is a huge rap. She can out rap anybody, but she's a lawyer in Texas, so I don't think she'd fall into this. But
Well, it's exciting. I am thrilled to be doing this now.
Good.
That's where my passions lie. The podcast is still great. I love it, but
Good.
I always try to bring my raps in whenever I can.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
They're fun. They're funny. People like them.
Yeah, that's just on another show, and I tried not to talk about the raps because not everybody wants to talk about them though too. And it had to come up. It came up at
Those
the end.
people suck.
No, they like it. They liked it. Yeah,
That's why I'm not sponsored.
it's the younger generation that really likes it. It's the
Yeah,
older
yeah.
generation that
They
just
don't.
doesn't really
They
get
don't
it.
get it.
And that's
It's not their
they've always
music.
had a hang up with rap.
Yeah, I don't
You
know,
know,
why.
the older generation kind of had a hang up with rap. My parents still don't like rap. Like they don't really listen to it.
They weren't around for some 80s, 90s hip hop. That's their problem.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like that's
Ugh.
that's in my
Singing
blood
John,
now.
John Denver. I know. I get it.
Yeah. Well, Everclear's in my blood too. We didn't really talk about
Yes,
that, but you got a
that's okay.
signed guitar from Art Alexakis, one of my favorite bands, one of my favorite creators. He's got the alliterative name. I love Everclear. I've been listening to them since the early 90s, and that's my heart. Through high school. My high school was defined by that double album, at least closest to my heart. Like that album I felt more than anything else when I was in school. There was other albums that I loved too, but Songs from an American Movie, Part 1 and Part 2. Part 2 is my preferable one at this stage and age of life. I love that album. It's perfect for like the story of a human adult that I could relate to. Like that could be like I could, it's just very universal. It's great.
Yep. I was out of high school by then. Am I a couple of years older than you? I must be. No?
You are couple.
Okay. I was going to say so much for the afterglow. Was,
40,
was
42. Right?
I am 42 and 3/4.
And 3/4. Okay. I'm not quite 40 yet. I am going to be 40
okay.
this
Yeah.
year.
So, yeah, I was graduated by then. I was long gone. But,
For sure.
Yeah.
So dope. Appreciate you coming on. This was
Thanks for having me.
great lively conversation, and I don't know if I want to exit. I say these things as like jokes half of the time because whenever things go bad, then all of a sudden I do want to exit. If I ever get pulled into something and I have to do something there, then all of a sudden, maybe I don't want to have this weighing me down. And I see it more as a weight than a ship. Like right now, it's a ship and it's going in the right direction. It's safe.
So my advice to you would be in that situation is just be prepared for it. Just make sure you have everything in order to where if the opportunity comes up and you need to or you want to, you can, but you don't have to. But to know that you could at any point in time and there'd be no hangups, no hookups, nothing, and it actually is a product that someone would buy, that should give you all the peace in the world.
I'm at peace.
Good.
Sometimes I'm not, though. Sometimes I get a little too anxious and the anxiety builds up. The ADHD is terrible sometimes. But most of the time I could say I'm at peace at this point. It's a good situation, and you got to have some gratitude and appreciate what you've got in order to really like relax. I think that's what I'm learning.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I agree.
lesson of the day. Appreciate you. Sharrin Fuller. Check her out. She's got The Community Glass Wallet, coming soon to a theater near you.
Yep, that's right.
Dope.